Welcome back to the 6th Invitational. We are looking at sunny Montreal, and because we are here in Montreal, we're here at the home of the Rainbow Six Siege development team, and we have two amazing developers to join me here today to talk all about Operation Chimera and these two new operators that are launching with Year 3, Season 1. Please give a big round of applause to Amelia and Simon, game designers on Rainbow Six Siege. Amelia, how's it feel to be on this stage here at the 6th Invitational? You're no stranger to the scene, but you're here at the first time at the 6th Invitational.
I'm super excited. All the person here, this is amazing. This is unbelievable. It's phenomenal. I'm super happy to be here. It's been an amazing week. It's going to be even better very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really exciting match between EG and Rogue coming up right after this, but we wanted to dive into these new operators and to also help me out with Lion. Please give a big round of applause to Simon. No stranger to the stage as well. Back from the 6th Invitational 1 year ago as well. How's it going, Simon?
Yeah, it's going amazing. I mean, like, we've had a phenomenal tournament so far. We've had upsets, Cinderella stories. I mean, what could you ask for more? Like, I'm super stoked to be here.
A lot of surprises and a lot of incredible action. And because Amelia and Simon worked on Finca and Lion, they're going to be breaking down all the details that you need to know in order to prepare yourselves for their launch on March 6th and their launch on the test servers starting Monday. So, with that said, let's take a first look at Finca and Lion.
Ricin, anthrax, sarin gas, Ebola, VX gas, Chimera viruses. Some enemies are invisible. But the CBRN threat unit is Rainbow's shield against those enemies that can kill you with a single drop of blood.
Nanobots online.
Big Brother are coming in for Overwatch.
Or one wrong breath.
That is a brief look at the two new operators that are coming with Operation Chimera. And let's start with Finca. Obviously, Finca is our Russian attack operator, and she is equipped with a global buff that we will be breaking down in just a moment. We're really excited to showcase this global buff. Amelia, please tell us a little bit about the design intentions behind her unique gadget.
So we always want to try to expand the boundaries of the gameplay of Siege, try to conquer new territories. And this season, the theme of the season is global. What we mean by global is something that is map-wide and team-wide. Everyone, everywhere on the map will be affected by those effects. In Finca's case, we are exploring the possibility to provide a buff to your team.
So a global buff to your entire team. Let's see that in action. How does this gadget actually work? So,
lower recoil, faster ADS time, increased reload speed. All around the board, you will be much more efficient in your gunfight. You will be capable to win certain gunfight that you should not, and it will improve your efficiency for the entire team.
So improve the efficiency for the entire team. How long does it last about?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. And you can use it a few times as well. So let's take a look at how that charge looks like from the teammate's perspective.
Exactly. So in this specific example, we have Rush boosting her ally, where we have Finca boosting her ally. She will pick with the LMG to the window. She will get the kills with this increased accuracy. You see that the LMG that tends to have an important recoil is able to be used much more efficiently.
Yeah, so a lot more control on that recoil for that LMG for Zofia. We were taking a look at her perspective. That's going to come into play in a lot of really interesting situations, but also in that little clip, we saw a little boost to the HP bar. What's going on there?
Yes, good spot, Justin. We also boost your allies' HP by 20 HP, which is not much, but it's all across the board, so it's very useful as well. This boost will also revive your friendly that are down. Like if your fantastic glass fell from the tower, you can bring him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear the crowd really likes that ability. I like it too because I'm always falling off roofs. I'm so sorry to all my teammates that are out there. Anyway, so that's a look at how her gadget actually works. Let's take a look at her loadout. So what is she?
So the mentality, the philosophy here for Finka is really to embrace this support role. So it makes sense that she's a 2-speed, 2 armor. She's on the average side of the spectrum. She works that way. She, not too fast, not too short, but she needs to be able to intervene on all her teammates. But again, global effect means that she doesn't need to be positioned in a specific place to use it, so she doesn't really need to reposition to do the ability.
So she doesn't need that 3-speed to roam around.
Exactly.
So that's a look at her armor and speed. What about her loadout? What about her primary and secondaries?
So since she's Russian, she comes with the classic shotgun and LMG that we know from a Russian operator, but she also has a new AR called the Sarich. That is a very interesting new AR that is not in Siege right now, but will be included with Finka.
And one quick question on that. Does she come equipped with the Russian sights?
Yes, she does.
So that's going to be really cool to see the first operator that we're introducing back into this Russian sort of group, and she actually comes equipped with those Russian sights. So let's take a look, as we always do, the breakdowns, the interactions with these other operators that we've already released. What is she a good counter pick to?
So the first good counter pick it's Ella. We know we're nerfing Ella next season. JB told to you about that, but on top of that, we want to introduce also a counter. So a boost will allow her and her teammates to gain a resistance to concussion. It's not an immunity. It will just reduce the time and the duration of the effect and the intensity of said effect. So that way, if you push a bomb site and there might be concussion mine, you can actually have the upper hand in the gunfight.
As we hear the crowd going crazy for that reduced effect. And I think it's really important that there's 2 ways to really balance an operator. Either nerf them directly or introduce a counter to them.
Yes,
and that's
right.
really what Finka is becoming to Ella. And are there any other gadgets like that she has some resistance to?
Yes, similar way, we have the flashbang. So it's also a resistance to flash from your own team. It is not at all ying. It's not an immunity. You don't see clearly through the flashbang. But if you want to push, synchronize with your teammate, you can flash and be less flash than what you should have been and try to gain this gunfight as well.
So obviously, normally a flashbang will white out your entire screen.
Yes.
There we saw only a little bit of it, and it affects every single teammate that is impacted by this gadget.
Yeah, that is the important point. It's not just for you like King, it's all your team that can benefit for this reduced flash or concussion effect.
So that reduction is for team-wide across the board when that effect is active. Now, that seems like a pretty powerful gadget. Is there anything else that actually counters Finka?
Yes, of course. We have some counters. When the first counter we offer is smoke. The reason behind it is if you are boosted with this adrenal boost, you will breathe faster. And if you breathe faster, the smoke canister will affect you a lot more. And as you can see, if you plant, yeah, that is a powerful effect. That is, you need to be very careful if the smoke is against you.
So that's, just to be clear, that's about 30 HP per tick.
Yes, that's right.
I don't think Smoke is too happy about that in the
I'm
audience.
sorry.
So obviously, a really strong counter to Finka is Smoke. 30 HP per tick is pretty powerful. Is there anything, I mean, so you mentioned that you're breathing faster, you're breathing stronger. Does that mean your heart's beating faster as well?
Yes, Justin, you're correct. Good spot. Since your heart is beating faster, you will be able to spot someone under the effect of the boost from further away, the same way you used to with the pulse of the old days.
So here we're going to see Finka activate the ability, and
she gets spotted.
She gets spotted. OG Pulse mains rejoice, because that is going to be a nice callback to when Pulse had a little bit of a longer range. And so whenever an attacking team member has that ability active, Pulse is going to have a little bit of longer range to detect them.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a look at some of the counters to her, but also can you remove this ability? Is there any gadget that removes the ability?
Yes, definitely. Since it's a team boost, we need some things to be able to stop it right away. The first one we offer is Lesion. If the Lesion Mine affects you, all of a sudden the poison from a Lesion Mine will counteract the effect of the adrenaline plant, and you will lose the HP, the bonus accuracy, everything you add with the effect of Finka.
So that's a really nice buff or counter for Lesion, where he can counter Finka directly with anybody that steps on one of his mines with this ability active. They're going to actually have that removed. Yeah. So is there any other gadget that acts like that can remove this ability?
Yes, in a very similar fashion. Echo will be able to do that as well if you are under the effect of Finka. If you enter the site, if you get next to the yokai, it will be able to stun you, and this stun effect will remove the effect from the boost.
So there you have it, 2 ways to actually remove the ability and 2 operators that can actually counter the ability. So that is a look at Finka. We're going to actually check out some pre-recorded video of her as I speak to Simon. Simon, break it down, Finka, for us. I mean, is this global buff ability kind of something that you guys are really excited about?
Yeah, we're really excited with introducing global abilities to Siege. I think Finka is going to be a really interesting addition to Siege, but don't be fooled by just the appearance. She's going to require a lot of coordination for your team to be able to pull off like flashy plays with her. We've had extended playtesting with it, and you need to be talking a lot, and you need to be playing a lot with your teammates to get things done with.
A lot of coordination that you actually have to have with your teammates. We're going to see that. How do you think that's going to play out in Pro League, where the players are competing and coordinating on the highest level?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that we're going to see some Finka action in Pro League. How fast we're going to see it, I don't know. I think players are going to need to warm up to the new mechanics. I mean, it's a huge game changer. She has a global. She can affect everyone everywhere, and it's not like it's non-negligible buffs that she brings. So I think they're going to have to study a lot the interactions and how to coordinate attacks with Finka. But yeah, I think we will see her.
You mentioned this global ability. We've been talking about it. Is this something that you, as a game designer, are really excited about implementing into the game, this global buff?
Well, actually, we were toying around with how to bring healing on attack. And back when we were designing Capitao, his smoke darts actually were at first healing darts. And that didn't work out because the attack is always split up, and it was really complicated for the Capitao to go everywhere and heal his teammates. And so and then we went to overheal, right? And Duck eventually got that because that didn't work out on Capitao either. The overheal didn't work, and so Duck got that. But then Capitao got. It didn't work out for Capitao, so we turned it into a global. It kind of snapped for us. We were like, all right, well then let's just make it with a device that everyone brings in when Finka's there on the team. And
so
yeah.
These are some of the ideas that you guys have been working on for a long time to really actually want to implement into the game, where there is an operator that brings a lot of support utility in terms of healing up operators and even reviving them from across the map, but also giving them, this more stable control over the weapon.
Yeah.
Which I think is really one of the most interesting aspects of this ability, is that you can actually impact the performance of your other teammates, is that you can actually boost their performance.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole challenge here is to make it happen when it's the right time, because you're obviously going to get, if you're Finka and you're not talking to your teammate, you're obviously going to boost teammates who are not going to need it, and it's going to go to waste. And so it's how to make and it's how to be efficient with your team with Finka.
Yeah, and Emilian, as you worked on Finka, I mean, this is a really exciting moment to showcase to the community. What are your, how does it feel to showcase Finka for the first time?
Yeah, it is amazing. It's craft something and it end up there. It's a long process developing an operator like that. You heard both of us make the mistake of using the name Rush for her. It's because it's her dev name. And speaking of dev, The way we do usually is we place a lot of things on the table, we toy with a lot of things, and then we filter this to something very specific.
It's not a very focused, it's not a very linear path.
Exactly.
There's so many different elements that you guys are bringing into it.
When we tried a global buff for Finca, we tried a lot of things. For example, something that went out fairly quickly was buffing the speed, which meant literally for speed Ash, and that was we decided to remove this from Rush. And
I think the community would be really happy to not see that.
Exactly, and I think it's a good choice. And that's the way. Usually you push your operator as much as you can with a lot of things, and eventually you say, okay, this works well, let's keep it, and this do not work so well, so let's remove it from Rush. And then you craft her, and then you get to release, and it's super exciting. And we get to see what the player actually do with what you made.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's a lot of collaboration, a lot of coordination that players are going to need for Finca in the game. Is that something that you guys really try and push? Is that tactical aspect of Siege that is so important?
Yes, definitely. Coordination is super important. This is a two element with Finca. Is you've seen that this is team-wide, you need to be coordinated, and also it has super strong interaction. Like you need to know if there is a smoke, you need to know if there is a lesion. This is super important. And there is a reason behind it. As JB mentioned a bit earlier on the panel, we want to introduce something new that you will hear a lot more tomorrow called the pick and ban. And in that context, having strong operation between operators means you don't need to know just your teammate, but you need to know everyone, what they're doing, what is on the board, how you can interact with those things. And strong interaction, like Smoke Finca, like Legion Finca, or Ella Finca, this is super interesting for us.
Pushing the boundaries of the coordination and collaboration and communication that is so important to Rainbow Six Siege. That is Finca. So, without further ado, let's get on to our second operator, Lion. Lion is from the French CTU CBRN unit, and he comes equipped with what on the surface looks like an Intel gadget, but I think there is a little bit of depth here, and to explain that depth, Simon, please break it down, the game design intentions behind Lion's gadget.
And so we were designing in terms of globals, and so we'll see now in action. There's the flying drone in the sky, and then he activates a tagging window where he can catch all of the defenders that are actively moving during that tagging window.
So he actually has this ability, and break it down to us exactly how it works.
And so you will start by getting a window of warning for all players on the map, and once it goes, there's a 4-second window, and if you are caught as a defender moving during that window, that time frame, you will get your position tracked in real time.
And I don't think we saw that just right on that first asset. So let's take a look at how it actually works in action when he activates it for the first time. So let's take a, oh, and actually, we're going to take a look at it from the teammate's perspective. So
yeah, and so now we're in the POV of Zofia, and she gets the information, and she gets an easy wallbang there, thanks to great coordination between her and Lion. And so that's all that I've been saying that, but it's all about coordination. But these globals, if you use them alone, they don't work out. You need to work with your team.
Yeah, so introducing another collaboration element, of course, that was from the perspective of the teammate when that's activated. And that's, I mean, it's such a powerful tool to provide intel. But as I mentioned earlier, there is a little bit of depth here in terms of how that works on the actual defender side. And there's two different kind of states for the defenders, moving and standing still. So what happens when you're moving and Lion activates its gadget?
So when you're moving and Lion activates his gadget, we'll see now classic Ella roaming Watchtower, and she gets caught moving during that tagging window, and Lion can just swoop in and get the kill because he knows exactly where she is in real time until the time window ends.
So obviously, as you're moving, when you're moving this and Lion activates his gadget, you're going to get that red line around you. But there is a way to sort of prevent this by standing still. What does that look like?
It's a soft counter to the ability. You have a choice to remain still. And when you remain still, you do not get tracked. But now we see Pulse is wiggling around, trying to wiggle the angle. And he gets detected by Lion. But Lion is not careful. he did not see that Ella was there. And so it's not hard intel that Lion provides, because you will never get 100% accurate information on all of the defender's position. So you need to use it wisely, pair it with droning to be efficient with it.
Pair it with droning to be efficient with it, and it really plays with the psychology of the defenders, and this is really kind of like crowd control.
It's kind of a soft crowd control, yeah. So it gives a choice to the player. Are you safe enough to risk moving and being tracked, or are you in a sticky situation where you'd rather stand still?
As we saw with Dokkaebi, when your phone is ringing, as a defender, you have a choice to either answer it or let it ring and
exactly.
let it annoy you. With this gadget, for the defenders, you have the opportunity to either run around and be spotted, or stand still and play that waiting game.
Yeah, and when you pair that with droning, say you find someone in the bathrooms droning with your drone, and you call out to Lion to activate his ability, you know you have him there, and if he moves, you will 100% know. And so that's very valuable information paired with droning.
Absolutely, very valuable information. And what kind of situations does Lion shine with that valuable?
Well, he shines in many situations, but on the retakes, he's a monster. So now we see the little Jaeger coming for a nasty roam, but he gets denied instantly, and now they go in for the bomb plant. And we'll see Lion activate his ability, and now the defenders have to move, right? They need to retake this side. But Lion makes their life very, very hard as they try to retake this side, because he gets all of the information of the defenders trying to come back on.
So a really strong way to prevent a retake. And as we saw on there, he can use it 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And for how long does it last about?
So the time window is 4 seconds. It's a 3-second warning plus a 4-second active window, and there's a 10-second cooldown between each charge. So you cannot just chain tag.
So so you can't just spam this thing. There's actually you have to wait 10 seconds in between.
Exactly.
So a little bit of strategy there as to where you're going to actually utilize this gadget.
Yeah, and also like when in the round, like do you want to keep it for the retake as an attacker? Like do you want to use it to drone yourself in to try to get information on the roamer? There's really a lot of situations, and it's all up to your team to figure out when's the best time to use that.
Absolutely. So that's a look at his gadget. Let's take a look at the loadout. What armor and speed is it?
So he's a 2-2. He's a little beefy, but he's a 2-2. So that felt like a natural fit for him. Just a standard like loadout.
And what are his primaries and secondaries?
So his primary is the Chris 308, and he comes equipped with the other French weaponry, which is the 417 and the SGCQB, along with the P9, if I'm not mistaken, the LFP 586. And a Claymore and a flashbang. But now I hear you, you mean another vector, a drum magazine vector, but it's not that high ROF because it shoots 308 bullets, right? And so it's the same kind of, it's the same weapons, the same technology that's used, but it's a really way less rate of fire.
As with the vector that is on Chimera, it's a little bit different. It doesn't have the same rate of fire. It's a little bit slower.
No, I would say it's much closer to an LMG than an actual like high ROF SMG.
Yeah. I hear a lot of players out there saying when they saw the vector, they were like, you know what, I'm going to be a vector main now. I'm going to be an attacker and defender with a vector.
You get to be a vector main now.
Really cool. So who is the best counter to Lion? How do we stop this?
There is a very hard counter to Lion, and it's mute. If you are standing in the radius of a mute jammer, you are free to move, and you will not get detected. And so now we see a clever use of mute who kept a jammer for him while he's roaming, and now he can wiggle the angle, and Lion just unaware.
He gets crushed. So that is a look at Lion. We're going to play a little bit of some footage of Lion in action as we talk a little bit more about his ability. Now, I just want to break it down because you did mention he has a 3-second ability that this is active, and you don't get the red lines when this is when you're standing still. But what does that mean actually? does it mean that if you're rotating or aiming down sight, is that going to actually
So yeah, it's
trigger
really
this?
like the rule is pretty simple. It's all about movement. You're free to do other things while you're in the window. You're free to rotate, you're free to aim, you're free to shoot, you're free to throw a C4, you're free to change stances, you're free to deploy a gadget, but it's really about moving. You press that W, you tilt that joystick forward a little bit, you will get spotted instantly.
So really just about the movement. And Amelia, I want to turn to you. Is this kind of exciting thing to be releasing 2 attackers? I don't think that was really, I think we need to really address that, where both Lion and Finka are attackers. And how do you think that's going to impact the meta?
That's a very good point. It is something very new for us to introduce 2 attackers, so it's a bit of a new way to address season. We don't really know how it will work. We do intend to balance it out by introducing 2 defenders later this year. Yeah, 2 attackers is very interesting. That will bring 2 new ways to handle the meta for one side. So yes, defense will be a bit of a disadvantage right now. But based on our data, currently defense is winning a bit more, so I'm not too afraid on how impactful that might be. It will require people to apprehend new ways to play the same round. So that's going to be interesting.
And now, as we've seen with both Finka and Lion now, these kind of global abilities, global buffs, is this sort of a trend that you guys are really excited about implementing into the game, where we have this really kind of teamwork and collaborative work with the operator's abilities?
Yes, well, collaboration is always on our mind for every operator we make. It is core to Siege. It's super important for us. But globals in themselves, it's more like a theme for this season. We kind of introduced it with Dokebi earlier, but this is really the thematic of that season is the global effect. It doesn't mean that it will be every operator moving on. It's just for this specific season, we are trying to explore something new, and we're really looking forward to see how that new gameplay area will affect the meta.
Yeah, and not only really kind of affect the meta on the defender side, but also on the attacker side. I mean, we really need to think about how the attackers are moving in, coordinating in, and pushing into a site now as these players are moving along. And one thing that's really kind of interesting with Lion's gadget is that you have this choice as a defender whether or not to give that attacker the intel. Is that something that you guys are really kind of interested in evolving, which is more the psychology of the game? As a defender, do I move? Do I run?
I mean, yeah, we've been looking at this kind of psychology. I mean, as Emilien said, we're really focusing on bringing new gameplay to Siege. We believe that's a way to keep a game fresh, and we're just as designers. I mean, like, this is really exciting. We want to bring new kinds of gameplay. Like, Siege is never going to stay the same for long. We're always going to be changing the formula a bit and introducing all sorts of new gameplays, and yeah, get ready for it. There's some good stuff coming.
I think as soon as players get comfortable, you guys come in and just like mess it all up. Especially whenever somebody asks me why doesn't Bandit or Jaeger have the ACOG anymore, you know, it's because we like to change things up a little bit.
Well, we have competitiveness at heart too. You know, we can identify when some things are broken. We introduce new rules. We just like to keep players on their toes.
Keep players on their toes, and they will be definitely keeping players on their toes with the addition of Finka and Lion. I'm so excited for these operators. So that is a look at our 2 new operators coming with Operation Chimera on March 6th. Please give them a big round of applause to Simon and Emilien. But that is not all, of course. With Operation Chimera, we always release a few new cosmetics, and we are also releasing an Ash Elite skin that will be free for all players. As long as you play 1 game before March 6th, you can get this free Ash Elite skin, which we'll be talking about tomorrow during the Outbreak panel, which is really cool. And then, of course, we also have customized BDUs for both Finka and Lion, which play within the theme of the operation and really customizes them from head to toe, which is really great. I mean, they look incredible. This is a look at Finka, and here's a look at Lion as well in his new seasonal BDU, which I think players are going to be really excited for. And of course, with Operation Chimera, there's going to be a ton of fixes and game improvements. You can look for the patch notes launching on Monday, February 19th, just after this event this weekend. So, without further ado, that is Operation Chimera. Please give a big round of applause to my guest, live on the test servers on February 19th, Monday, and live in game for Year 3 Season Pass owners on March 6th. Don't go anywhere. We have an exciting matchup between evil geniuses and rogue. But first, let's check out this video.
There are two formidable new attacking operators in government-issue yellow suits coming to Rainbow Six Siege. Do not be alarmed if you suddenly feel a burst of health, experience drastically reduced recoil, or feel that you can see through walls. It's all perfectly normal for Operation Chimera. These CBRN specialists are at home in both cooperative and competitive situations. They're both rated 2 speed and 2 armor, and they each have 3 primary weapon options to help you play to your strengths. Let's start with Finka, the Spetsnaz specialist who's here to enhance your performance with her Adrenal Surge ability. By triggering nanites in the attacker's bloodstreams, Finka juices her whole team with a veritable pharmacopoeia of boosts and buffs. As soon as the borders of your vision go blue, you'll get a shot of extra health. This HP boost can also revive any teammates that are down but not out, no matter how far away they are. Boosted attackers will also move faster through barbed wire and recover more quickly from concussion and flashbang effects. And here's the kicker. This is your recoil. This is your recoil on Adrenal Surge. Any questions? Adrenal Surge is available for use twice per round. Side effects include an elevated heart rate, which makes Adrenal Surge users detectable from longer range by pulse. Do not use Adrenal Surge if you are in, or plan to be in, a cloud of toxic smoke, as your faster rate of breathing will lead to faster injury and death. If you step on a goo mine or get zapped by a yokai drone, the effects of Adrenal Surge will cease immediately. Adrenal Surge is not an effective barrier against frost traps. Ask your teammates to find out if Finka is right for you. Now let's talk Lion. Hailing from the GIGN, Lion is a formidable presence thanks to his very large backpack and his indestructible aerial drone that constantly hovers in the sky. Dubbed the EE-1D, this drone can scan the entire map, and any defender that is caught moving during the scan will be immediately lit up with a real-time, full-body outline that the entire attacking team can see. Lion takes getting droned out to a whole new level, and he can give the attackers an edge at almost any point in their assault, from dealing with spawn peekers to defending a planted diffuser. But there are a few ways the defenders can fight back. Once Lion activates his drone, both attackers and defenders will see a countdown, letting them know the scan is incoming. When the scan goes live, a visual effect kicks in and a timer icon appears on screen to show you how long it'll last. Once it's gone, there's a cooldown before Lion can scan again, and he can scan 3 times per round. The easiest way for you defenders to avoid getting tagged by the scan is to simply not move your feet. You can rotate in place, aim down sights, fire your weapon, and even change stance without being detected, but the second you move your feet, you're tagged. Mute jammers will disrupt the scan, so you can freely move as long as you're inside the jamming radius, but the moment you leave, you're tagged. Still, getting tagged isn't a death sentence, and a crafty defender can try to bait attackers into pursuing their bright red outline, while their stationary teammate lies in wait for an ambush. To keep up with the latest in Rainbow Six Siege, subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit us at news.ubisoft.com.